So we come to this beginning of this very holy season of Lent, and a lot of people are thinking, well, what am I going to do to change this year? Not a good question. In fact, a lot of times people are just focused on what's going to be going on the next 6 weeks. I would like to offer a different perspective than may be common even among us Catholics. You see, we're going into this season of Lent, and then we're going through Easter, and in many ways we're arriving at Pentecost. We're going into Lent, through Easter, all the way to Pentecost. Roughly a 90-day journey. When we think of it this way, that ultimately we're to be ambassadors for Christ, as we heard in that second reading, then when we rend our hearts, as we were invited by that first reading, we're opening ourselves up to God's love and through the power of Jesus' resurrection as we die to self and to sin, in order that we might share that with others. Into Lent, through Easter, and then to Pentecost. Our Holy Father had a great reflection of this. He sends out something rather brief every year. And this year, he said another way of thinking of this is that the title is, From the Desert, God Leads Us to Freedom. From the desert, God leads us to freedom. And when we see that that's really what we're seeking, is the freedom of the Lord, again, because once you get on the other side of death, resurrection, there's a lot of freedom there, huh? And that all the ways that we might be thwarting that, God will lead us from those deserts. And that freedom that we have, we want others to have that. That's the Pentecost. That's the being filled with the Spirit so much you want to share that with others. One other way maybe to think of this is a great little way that you might not have heard how to store avocados. Most of us cut an avocado, probably use at least one half, and usually have that other half left over. And so you try to put it in something and maybe, wrap it with some plastic wrap or something. But usually the next day or two, you have to bring it out with, what is it? Brown and yucky. Hardly edible. If we look at Lent just as, well, I'll open my heart and do all that work and then see what change I can do, or maybe what the Lord can do, it's not going to come out very pleasant. But if you do this, if you take an avocado, now keep the bone or the seed in it, of course, and then all you have to do is put it in a glass of water and submerge it completely. And it will last green for many days. And it'll even come out softer because most of us are going to use an avocado to spread it around. This is really, I think, a wonderful way of thinking of how we go from the desert, God leading us to freedom. That we immerse ourselves in the graces of our baptism, in the holy waters of the great love and power of Jesus Christ and His resurrection. That we do have to cut ourselves open to that. And then as we do that, God softens us with His love and His grace so that eventually we can spread that to others. This is the beginning of this journey that we do together today. That we go into Lent, through Easter, to arrive at Pentecost. So, from the desert, let us open our hearts that God will lead us to His true freedom.